Welcome to the Mandatory Social Interaction Show. I'm your host, Eric, along with the ridiculous Tim and the somewhat grounded Ben.
Mine's hyphenated.
Hey, you're the inimitable Eric.
There you go.
Boy.
Yeah, one of these days
I like
I'll be the abominable.
Abominable. The ungracious Eric.
That's right.
That sounds better.
Oh, good God. So how's it going, guys?
Yep.
It's been a while since we've all been on the show.
It has been.
Scheduling has been a pain
Yes.
the past couple months. So
Yeah. We're getting to the point where our new schedule should take effect though soon, right? So,
Yeah,
I think so.
another few weeks, couple more
Yeah.
shows, and then we should be on the new schedule. So, which
Yeah.
for anybody who's listening, at least live in the chat, it's going to be earlier. I think what we're talking about is like 10:30 Central Time, 10:30 a.m. on Saturdays.
Mhm.
So just mark it on your calendars. We'll let you know like the week before. It's not happening till probably towards the end of the month, but just a heads up, it is going to be going earlier. So I know we've all got a couple things to talk about this week, so let's get the easy one out of the way, and then we can get to the ones that have some depth. Not that this doesn't have depth, but this is the one that happens every quarter, and it's super cool, and it's a lot of fun, and it's something you can go check out after you're done watching the show. And that's the 2-hour album challenge. That's where
Yes.
Ben runs this kind of on his stream, and then we all participate and make a song in 2 hours over the course of 48. So you pick a 2-hour block basically during the weekend. Ben randomly chooses a topic, and then people make songs, and they go on to an album for charity. It's a challenge. It's a lot of fun. It's a great community. You guys should check it out. Where can people take a look for that, Ben?
Well, 2hac.bandcamp.com is the prior volumes that we've released. We've released 2 so far. But if you want more information on the challenge itself, it's 2hac.abstractionmusic.com. And that has all of the information as to what the challenge is, why you should do it, or at least why I feel you should do it. And I could talk about that for a long time. And
What's the theme this time?
cats.
Of course.
It was
I'm
randomly
so
chosen.
surprised
It's
that Ben
randomly
Burns
chosen.
would pick cats.
I rolled a d20 and it came
No.
up cats.
It is random, my friend. He, if you watch the video,
You rolled a d20, 1 through 19 is cats.
No.
No.
I'm just teasing.
No, it's actually random, or he just kept reshooting
No.
the video until he rolled a 16.
I don't have time for that, for one. Like,
What's 20? Songs about how awesome Ben is. That's a 20.
what 20? Let's see. What was 20? I think 20 was Alien, which would have been a pretty cool one too.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, so we've been doing that. It's been going on for about 20, maybe 18 hours now. I have like 7 submissions, and I'm hoping to get a bunch more today and tomorrow. At the end of the challenge, we all gather together and have a listening party, which is a ton of fun. And then I work on putting the album up on Bandcamp. And any album sales, the album is free, but anybody who purchases the album, I donate all that money to charity, to a local animal rescue, where we've gotten 3 of our cats. So I think that it's a super cool kind of cause, because those guys, it's a smaller rescue that could always use some extra money for food and litter and all that other stuff. So
And just so everyone knows, I will be doing mine in about 3 hours from now at 4 p.m. Central Time. That's my my time slot. I'll be doing it on the stream, so everyone can watch me mess around with some music stuff. And
When does it end?
It ends tomorrow.
Sunday at 8 p.m.
Yep.
Cool.
And then the listening
Yeah,
party
yeah.
is at 9 p.m. on Ben's channel. But after this stream, we will be rating whoever is streaming for the 2-hour album challenge next. So if you're in the chat, you'll go straight into the 2-hour album challenge, and you can watch people making music.
Hopefully, I think the next person who's slotted is on YouTube, but we'll find something.
Well, we'll figure it out then. Fair
More
enough. Pizza.
pinball.
You know, I should have done my research, but I didn't. So let's see, and some stuff. Tim, I was interested to hear that Tim is now streaming in multiple places and not just Mixer.
Yes.
He's streaming on Twitch now and on YouTube. So he's kind of
And Facebook.
Yeah, I was going to ask on Facebook
and
too,
Facebook.
right?
Oh wow,
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I've been listening to a lot of podcasts from bigger live streamers and media folks and people who do a lot of content creation, video based stuff, distribution like that. And I kind of came to the conclusion that while it's great to have your central base, which for me is Mixer, and it will be for the foreseeable future. I mean, I will never say forever because I can't commit to that, because you go where's best for your community, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was pretty much this: you're remiss in not going to other platforms and at least making it available to those platforms. So I started streaming on Facebook mainly because Facebook gaming has been like blowing up lately, and I was like, I might as well like get my presence there again, because I had a page there for a while, and then I deleted it because it was set up as a podcast. I had originally set it up when I was only doing the podcast with my buddy George. That's how ICT started, but I recreated the page and I've been growing it since, and I've been adding, doing streams to there for a little bit, and then I decided to branch out into YouTube so that my VODs are instantly put out on YouTube and available to people, and then on Twitch, because there's a lot of people on Twitch, and there's a lot of great people on Twitch that I've gotten to meet through doing this show, like MIntrovrt and Pizza and Toxic and all these people. So it's really cool to be able to have a place to give them content, even if I don't necessarily engage with the chat there, and I focus my chatting on Mixer. So my goal is to kind of branch out and diversify a little more, and just like with my podcast, like I don't offer it just on one place. I offer it on using Anchor. It goes up on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iOS or Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. So why would I limit myself when I'm not limiting where my podcast goes?
Yeah.
So for things like interactive and the FTL, like you can't replicate that anywhere. So that's why Mixer's like my focus, because that's got the features I like, my community likes it, and ultimately that's what I want. I mean, I want to be able to offer up my content with those features because they're such an integral part to my stream. But it's nice to be able to offer it up to the Twitch folks. I've had a lot of people come back that were following me when I streamed on Twitch, and have come back and are like, holy crap, you're streaming here again. And I'm just like, kind of, yeah, I guess so. So it's nice to give them, because some of them don't know anything about Mixer, or like they followed and then they would pop in from time to time, and then they didn't realize I was gone until I started streaming there again. And they were like, holy crap, I haven't seen that name in forever.
Yeah.
So ultimately that's the gist of it. And Toxic asked if I have a regular streaming schedule, and I do. I stream 4 days a week. But I will mention that at the end of the show. I always do. But that said, that's what it comes down to. Is like I wanted to diversify, and one of the big reasons is I don't know if you've heard of him, but Professor Broman. He's one of the dudes who puts on Guardian Con with King Gathalion and K Magic and all that stuff. And he's just a really smart dude. He knows a lot about the industry. He knows about diversifying your brand and doing different things and just trying stuff to make it work. And he's a big inspiration to me right now. And I'm trying really hard to make this work full time. And to do that, I need to get as many eyes on the channel as possible. And to be able to do that, you got to go to different places, right? So.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, man. So what you were mentioning to me earlier, I was asking if you were doing some kind of restream or, like Restream.io or something like that. And you mentioned that you were doing something, but not Restream.io. So I'm curious, who's your Restream service? And you were saying they're able to do FTL to Mixer as well, if I understood that correctly?
Yes, so it's a service called StreamX, and it's I'll put the URL in chat. It's cool because what you do is you start streaming to Mixer, and it will capture your Mixer stream, so you can stream to FTL and Mixer, and then it pretty much copies the stream out to YouTube and Twitch.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. And right now it's free. It may have a price involved later, but honestly, it's worked really well the couple of times I've used it. So it's like one of those things that if the price is right, I'll be all over it. I mean, it'll be worth the little bit of dosh to keep it going. But it works super well. It keeps the same resolution, the same bit rate, and everything. And the only thing you have to do is just open up your dashboard on both YouTube Gaming and Twitch, and then update what game you're playing in your description, and bam, you're good to go. So it's not too bad, not too bad at all. Very straightforward.
And
it does not aggregate chats, Voxel asked, and that's one thing it doesn't do. But there are services out there that do aggregate chats. I just don't use them yet. My big thing is I personally, Mixer, like I said, Mixer's my focus. So I actually have talked to my mods, and I have a couple of mods who are hanging out in those channels. And when people try to engage, they say, "Hey, go to Mixer, go check it out if you want to talk." That way.
That's one of the main reasons why I stopped restreaming. Because managing chat is such a huge pain in the ass when you have 3 of them going and they're all kind of ambiguous as to who's talking where, because the Restream bot is always like reposting people's messages, and it turns into a big pain. And that's one of the primary reasons why I stopped Restreaming, was because I felt like it was splintering the community and making it less personal.
Yes, and that's my big. That's the one thing that I put a lot of thought into, and that's why when I say my focus is on Mixer, I mean it. Like, I don't look at Twitch chat, I don't look at YouTube chat, and it's not that I don't want to engage with people there, but like you said, it does cause community confusion and fracturing. And the idea is, if you like my content enough on Twitch, it shouldn't matter what platform you're watching on, and if you wanna engage, it's not hard to fire up Mixer. And opening an account's very easy there. Mm-hmm. Also, my Discord's open to anybody. So I'm a Discord partner. You can join my Discord and just hang out outside of stream. So there's ways to engage that don't necessarily involve using Twitch chat, which is delayed by it's delayed by almost a minute because of the way the Restream service works. So it's a huge delay. It's like not even worth trying to communicate with chat in. And again, it's not like I'm intentionally saying I don't want to talk to Twitch people. I don't want to talk to YouTube people. I don't want to talk to Facebook people. It's my community is on Mixer, and that's where the target is, and that's where we're going to have to keep it. Otherwise, it gets very confusing, just like you said, Ben. So
yeah, and one thing also, I was wondering with something like Restream, where you can combine the chat, is that works great if everyone in the chat on all the platforms is well behaved.
Yes.
But if you have someone that's not well behaved, then you've got the Restream bot, like, let's say someone's, being a jerk in YouTube live, and, that chat is being routed back into Twitch. Then on Twitch, you can't exactly ban the Restream bot.
Right.
So then you have to either track them down in YouTube, or you have to, and then it sounds like moderation for that could be kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
And one of the things that I've done is on Twitch, I have the auto moderator set up on a pretty high level, and on YouTube, it's set to not allow anyone to post without me approving it if it seems sketchy. So it's much more restrictive in those chats too, because I'm not paying attention to them, and my mods may not be as much because their focus is on Mixer. I don't want there to be any chance of somebody violating my community rules on top of that, ultimately. So again, it's one of those things for the pure, undiluted, real ICT experience. You still got to go to the Mixer page, but at least you can see the content, you can see the VODs, you can make clips on Twitch, you can watch all the stuff that I've been doing in multiple places, so that at least it's there. Because I've had so many people say, "Hey, do you have a YouTube?" And it's like, yes, but I haven't updated it in 8 months because I hate YouTube. But I don't like the way they do things. But ultimately, if I can just get my content out there, people may watch it.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Well, that's super cool, and that's something I'm definitely going to check into as I, consider ramping up, streaming for me and figuring out what streaming means for me, and what I want to do. So that's really awesome. And I want to switch gears a little bit, because And Ben, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, and I hope that's okay.
Okay. That's fine.
It's nothing that's not public, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little.
Oh no.
So, some pictures surfaced on Twitter. No, I'm kidding. No, but
Not intentionally.
no.
Yeah.
You posted a fairly lengthy Twitter thread this week about sort of. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna tell you how what it looked like to me, but you explain it because it's really how you kind of felt. To me, it sounded a little bit like a needing to refocus and maybe a little bit of burnout from kind of some of the things you're doing, creatively right now in terms of music and streams and video production and all the things you want to do, and or the things you feel like you're obligated to do versus the things that projects that you want to work on that are in the back of your head that you can't get to due to obligations.
Yeah, well, primarily, a lot of it came down to, I hate to say like recognition or anything like that, but I've been trying to put out a sample pack every month, mostly because I like doing it, but a lot of that relies on, like Reddit and other services that are very, very hard to be consistent with, like as far as like response and getting people to actually notice it. So it's like the pack I put out didn't really get noticed. Color Jumper got panned by GOG, which is fine. It's like whatever, but it's like all these things happened at the same time. And I was just like, what am I doing with my life? And it made me, I hate to say it's like a creative crisis or a crisis of faith in creativity or something like that, because that's kind of what it felt like, where it's just like, I've been putting so much effort into this and I haven't really been seeing anything come out of it. And I needed to realize I needed to sit down and focus on myself and be like, that's not the point. That's not why I'm doing this stuff.
Yes.
And
I had a similar experience.
Yeah. It sounds like, Tim, you've been kind of dealing with the same thing
Yes.
on and off for the past couple months. And,
Yes.
I mean, I think that it's pretty standard for almost all artists to run into that problem once in a while, where it's just like you put something out that you love and nobody cares or nobody sees it. And I mean that's part of the process, or at least that's part of being on the internet, unfortunately. But I needed to talk about it. Mostly I was talking to myself. I wasn't like looking for attention or anything like that. I just need to, I use Twitter when I make those long posts is essentially just a stream of consciousness while me personally working out the problem that I'm having. Just because it's easier for me when I write something down, when I make it a physical thing, even if it's like on the internet, it's still something that exists and something that I can like look at from different angles and turn over in my head. And I came to the conclusion that a lot of what I'm doing right now is for other people. And while I like that, while I think that that's cool, I need to also focus on things that I'm making for myself. And I've been putting a lot of my own personal projects by the wayside for the past, I don't know, probably 3 years. And I need to get back to doing those. So that's really kind of the main thing for me, where I was just like, I was so focused on all of this stuff that I was making for other people. And while I love doing that, it's exhausting. And I feel like I'm not progressing personally as an artist because I'm not growing as an artist, because I'm just kind of doing what I can to keep up with everything that's going on. I don't have time to sit down and learn something new. So burnout isn't really the right word. I feel better now, but it felt like a crisis of faith, except what that faith is creativity and making things. And I do, to some degree, think of creating things as a lifestyle, as like a religion almost, because I made that album Creationism as a tongue-in-cheek, like creating things is a lifestyle. It's a religion. It's something that you have to focus on and be true to. Mm-hmm. So that's a very powerful metaphor in my life, where that is kind of, creating things and creating new things is something that I take very seriously and care for very deeply. And I felt like I was betrayed by that in some way. And that was just because of my perspective on what should be right. So, I mean, that's kind of the short version of all of that, but I'll dig up the Twitter post and I'll put it in the chat just if people wanted to look at my ramblings.
Yeah, I was having a similar kind of experience just because of I made the mistake of looking at, and I mean it's a little different, I think, just because of the medium, but I think it's still at its core the same kind of experience and feeling. But I made the mistake of looking at metrics a little too closely, and I've been having a really, really down month in terms of viewership, follows especially, and that sort of stuff. Where it's been, it was very discouraging. I think was my takeaway out of it, is that it just was not seeing the growth, because I'd gone from having 400 or 500 follows in a 2-week period to I had 45 one 2-week period, and I was just like, I done something wrong. So, and I think it was a lot of just soul searching to realize that it's not necessarily me. There's a lot of factors when you do creating, when you do content creation, that are beyond your control. I mean, audience, what's your demographic? Like, my demographic is mostly adults, and a lot of adults are on vacation or that sort of spending time with their kids during the week.
And summertime is really tough in general because of that, where it's just like everybody's outside. Like it's more difficult to take care of and grow yourself as a channel when everybody who might be a potential audience just isn't there.
Yeah, and I think that's the ultimate challenge is enduring, and I think it's something I'm really bad at because of I'm really impatient. I've always been super duper impatient, and I think a lot of it is just punching through that wall and just keeping going. And I think that's the challenge.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that's something that I'm just dealing with right now too, where I just have to keep on doing it. And I try very hard to not do something once and gather metrics just from that. Like, you have to generate a trend. You have to do it like 3 or 4 times to at least get a couple points on the graph. And sometimes that means doing it for 3 months or 6 months and just figuring out, okay, this worked up until this point and then it stopped, and what happened. So I've been trying very hard to do that.
And what really realistically are your options? You either keep going or you quit.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not stopping. So it just kind of comes down to it's just easy to get, I think, caught up in your own head, and kind of being self-defeating. And I think that I feel like as a content creator, my own worst enemy is myself.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just really, really, I've always been really hypercritical of myself because I've never been a creative type. Like, I've never created things outside of like code stuff, which is much easier to assess in a vacuum than content, which is so subjective, and it's art, and art is just so different to everybody, and it means something different to everyone. And the challenge for me, the challenge to myself, is to try to look past my own stupid inhibitions, and it's so hard. It's so hard. Because it's all very new to me. Like, ever since I started making the podcast about 3 years ago, so I've been creating for 3 years, and I'd never really made stuff before then. I've never been good at art. I've never been good at music. I've never been good at really anything except technology related things. And so I'm struggling with a lot of things that like are super basic to a lot of artists who are like, yeah, I've been doing art since I was like 7, and it's just like, oh, I see. So it's not easy to get past myself sometimes. I think I'm the biggest hurdle to my own success.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem for a lot of artists, where you get wrapped up in yourself, and you get wrapped up in the dreams that you're trying to achieve, and you need to think about how you actually get to that point, and it's not always straightforward.
One thing, Tim, I have the same kind of feeling sometimes when I'm doing music or visual stuff, because there was probably a good 10 years where I really didn't do like music and art, if you want to call it that, and now it's like I'm learning things. I'm just now learning things that like people in their 20s are normally learning. So
Yeah.
I'm like just going, oh, that's how that thing worked, and like I didn't understand when I was, 20 or whatever is like all of a sudden clicking because, I didn't do it for so long. So I feel like I'm in a similar boat where it's like, yeah, I sometimes feel a little goofy when I'm like, wait, how does that work? What is that thing? What's an oscillator again? Not quite that bad, but there are definitely basic things that I'm like, oh, I don't think I ever realized that's how that worked until just now when I tried to put it all together,
Yeah, and I mean that's not really something that you should worry about too much. Like there's always going to be people that are younger than you
Oh, sure.
that may have more experience. Like I have the same problem where it's like I'm approaching 40 and there are people in my Discord who are like 16 and 17 doing amazing things that I have no idea how they did. And it's just like, age is a super relative thing. And it's super great for them. Like I'm really proud of all the people that are making things. It's really great, but it's like you can't compare yourself to that because you'll just drive yourself nuts.
Oh, of course you will. But what I mean is,
yeah.
It's not uncommon for people to think they should have, for creative people to like be learning something and think, hey, I should already know this. Why do I not already know this? And that's probably happens to people no matter if they're 15 or 20 or 40 or 60. Like I have a feeling that's just a lifelong creative struggle of, you see the thing you want to do and you don't quite know how to get there, and you feel like you ought to know.
Yeah. You learn. That's the best thing you can do.
Yep. I think it's just important to look at what you have accomplished.
Oh yeah.
And what is coming of what you have done, rather than what you are failing to do.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one reason why when I was having my little crisis, I looked back at the last couple of years. It's like I've done a lot of stuff, and like I'm not like ashamed of what I've done. I'm not like sad with what I've done. It's just like I feel like what I have done, I feel like, oh well, I should be more famous than I am now. And it's like I don't even want to be famous. I just want to make things. And it's like I have a misalignment of goals right now where there's like things that I think that I should like where I should be at, and I'm not there, but I'm also doing other things. And it's like that's the whole thing where I just need to sit down and like mindfully look at where I'm at and what I want to do over the next couple of years.
Get out of my head, Ben Burns. You sound exactly like me.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel the same way about a lot of things.
Yeah. So it's just trying to figure out, I think a lot of my goals are not aligned with each other either. They're not compatible. And this was actually going to be a creative exploration at some point, but I never really got to it. And it's just like there's things where I want to make games and I want to make music and I want to do all this stuff, and it's like I only have so many hours in a day. I can't do everything at the same time. Right. So I need to align my goals in a way that actually like so they're compatible with each other, so I can actually get things done. Because right now there's a joke from The Simpsons. What was it? It's like Mr. Burns has like Three Stooges disorder or something, where all of his diseases are stuck trying to kill him at the same time. It's like the Three Stooges when they go into a door and they all get stuck in the door and they can't leave. That's like that's kind of how that's the analogy that I have with all the goals that I have right now. It's like I want to do so many things, but they all get stuck and I don't get anywhere. Right. Because I'm trying to like get things done and I just can't get things done. So It's like, yeah.
I understand that entirely. I think it's once you kind of can lay out a path of, I'm not sure if it's better to say this is where I want to be or this is the steps I want to take.
Yeah.
Because I think saying I want to be here by this time is self-defeating, because once you don't meet that goal, then you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
But if you set, I want to complete these steps to reaching this goal, then if you're not setting any specific time frames, you can just say you got there eventually by your own merit, and you worked really hard to make it happen. And I think that's a much better mindset, and it's much better for a mental state than to just set a goal and then miss the goal. I do that all the time.
But you know what, though? I mean, that's one of those things that's also important. I mean, and something that people tend to forget is that, failing to do something is also how we learn. And it's important, unfortunately, in our culture, failure is often kind of demonized, and, but failure is actually really important. It's how you grow and how you find out how to do and how not to do things. So, it's something that's hard to deal with, especially in our culture, but it's incredibly necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And like whenever I see online that people like are bummed out that something didn't work out for them, I try to reassure them that it's like, that's part of the process. That's how you learn. You're not going to make that mistake again. So, I mean, you saved yourself time in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the best you can do.
And not only that, but maybe that's the, I mean, you fail until you succeed, right? I mean, you keep trying it until all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, I know this isn't the way to do it, and I know that's not the way to do it, so let me try this way, and eventually you find the way that works.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
So
sorry, I'm like setting something up real quick.
No, that's all good.
No worries.
Don't worry about it.
Oh man,
you can't. You should have seen last week.
I actually forgot to watch last week's. I'm sorry. This week has been such a mess.
Last week was a hot mess of technical difficulties.
Yes, it was. Last week was a great discussion. I actually really enjoyed the content, but I did not enjoy
it early.
I did not enjoy the technical issues that basically made us kill the stream early.
Yeah, Discord died entirely. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it turned out that my main Linux drive was for whatever reason had errors on it, so it mounted it read only. But it didn't like tell me, or I didn't, there wasn't like a pop up or anything that let me know that. So I had no idea until we were like midstream, and I'm going, wait a minute, why are things failing? And then Discord apparently needed to write to disk and couldn't, and that just completely blew it up. So
yep, that was not a fun way to end the
no,
the broadcast.
Not my favorite, but hey, stuff happens. So
it was still a really good discussion, though. I had a lot of fun with it. So.
Yeah, I did too. And actually, there's a lot of good information in there because I picked Tim's brain about what if someone who wanted to start streaming right now. What are some of the things that you would be, like what would you need to know? Where would you need to start? What kind of stuff do you need to get started and all that stuff. So it's definitely worth checking out. I apologize now for the technical issues, but the information in it is actually really good. It's totally worth.
Well, I come back and everything blows up. That's pretty much exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was entirely my fault. I had no idea that my SSD had like mounted dirty, and no chameleon air jokes, nothing. All right, we'll keep going. So anyway, yeah, I had no idea it was that I was going to have issues until like literally everything exploded. So what else?
Yeah. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Exactly. So it works out. I mean, it was still a really good discussion, and it worked out. I think it was a good episode. So regardless.
So what else does everyone have going on?
Yeah, that's really all I had to say on that topic. I don't know. It's like it's just you gotta stop and think about where you're at sometimes. And I like doing it publicly just because I hope I don't come off as just whining about it, because that's not the point. It's
No.
just,
I think I'm with you there. Like my Twitter, I post a lot of stuff publicly because a lot of what I see on Twitter from other content creators is only positive. And
yeah,
I'm not trying to be negative or bring people down, but it's also important to me to bring up the less
less
glamorous sides
Yeah.
of content creation, and to let people know that it is a real thing. And I'm always very positive on my Twitter, and I try really hard to be, but it's also me. It's my Twitter, so I try to be as real as I can because I'm a positive dude. I really am. I always try to look at the bright side of things, and it's really important to find the silver lining in things. But also, it's really important that if I'm feeling down, that I want people to understand why, and what I'm doing to try to correct that, because I'm sure there are other people in the same boat as me. And I think that's because some people just don't know at all how to work through what they're working through, and they just give up. And I don't think that helps anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, totally. And actually,
go
ahead,
ahead.
Ben. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I just actually watched a video from I'll never say this properly. Noir at Blanc V, who I just know as Jordy LaForge's kid. But he's a synth streamer, not a synth YouTuber, sorry. And
he's a robot.
He's a robot. He's not a robot.
He's a synth. You just said he's a synth.
He's a synth. No. But he's actually really cool, and he makes synth review videos and does music and stuff like that on YouTube. And he did a video that I just watched this morning about it's like the truth about being a synth YouTuber. And apparently somebody had put up a comment in YouTube saying, or on one of his videos saying, like, oh, I should start doing reviews. I should start a channel on YouTube so I can get free gear because this stuff's too expensive. And he was like, don't do it. Like, it's not worth it. Like, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
It's like the thing you think this is not what it is at all. And it's interesting seeing kind of the other side of it. Like, it's not. It's sometimes you get a perception of somebody streaming or on YouTube or whatever that it looks like because of the way it's presented. Like, oh man, his life must be so great and amazing, and that must be so cool. And I guarantee you, all of the biggest, whoever you can think of that's a big name, that you look up to and you think, man, he's got it made, struggles with the same crap we all do.
Yep. Look at Andrew Huang. It took him over 10 years before his channel gained any real traction.
Yeah, and Jeremy from Red Beans Recording recently just did a retrospective on his for like 200,000 subscribers, and he started in 2006, 2008, just doing like music videos just for his own passion projects, and it really only started taking off in like 2014, 2015, something like that. So it's just like, you do this stuff for a very long time before something ever happens, and that's okay. I mean, if you put out one video and got crazy famous, that's why there's a lot of one-hit wonder bands where they make one song that gets really popular, and then they're like, what the hell do I do now? And it's important to struggle. I think that's where that all comes down to. It's very important to struggle because you can appreciate where you go from there. Yeah. And going back to what we started talking about with the whole, talking about this stuff on Twitter, I think I agree with you, Tim, where it's valuable to talk about this stuff because at any level of skill where you're at, or any professional level, I like to let people know that this is what happens, that this is how things work. And that's also why I like streaming the music production, where the past couple of streams for mine have been pretty rough. And that's not a bad thing. It's just like, sometimes things go south and you have to figure out how it works. And I think that it's important to be able to have those moments where it's just like, what? Everybody runs into this problem. Sometimes you just have to power through it, and sometimes you just need to take a break. So
Yeah, and
I think that's one of the most valuable parts of streaming for me, where it's just like realizing or helping show people that everybody has this problem.
Yeah,
Yes.
and one thing I wanted to mention too, while we're on the subject of like, pouring our heart out onto Twitter, I'm not particularly good at doing that. But like Ben, when you or Tim or Jeremy from Red Means Recording post on Twitter, especially something that's like a multi-tweet thread, that and Tim, same with you, like that immediately gets my attention because it's not. I don't feel like that's someone bitching about something. I feel like that is like, hey, this is somebody who's really like trying to put some, like actually craft some thoughts and put them out there and see what people think, or maybe just get it off their chest. And like, to me, that's incredibly value. That's a lot of the value of Twitter, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, from the cynic's perspective, you could be like, "Oh, well, he's trying to humanize himself so he can sell more albums," but that's not really what it is.
Yeah, but come on.
Well,
I mean,
ultimately,
really, how many albums are you or Jeremy gaining from putting out there, "Hey, I had a lot of anxiety today"? I mean,
yeah, no, I know.
I mean, it would be one thing if Metallica was like, "Oh man, I feel so bad I had to smash my $10,000 bass guitar." All right, yeah.
I wouldn't feel bad about them.
All right, yeah, maybe you're looking for attention, but like, like there's a very real and different relationship now with social media and artists and their audiences, where it's such a direct relationship that I feel like most artists, when they're putting stuff, it's pretty obvious when someone's putting something on Twitter to kind of like, hey, look at me, versus like, hey, this is on my mind and I want to get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does make a difference.
Sorry, Tim. I think I talked over you, man. I didn't mean to do
No,
that.
you're good. You're absolutely fine. No, you had a good point. I like it. I like it a lot.
So.
Oh man, we have I think like 5-6 minutes left.
Yeah, something like that.
I know we started a bit late, and that's my bad.
That's fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. PSA, just for everyone out there, make sure to eat.
Yeah, I know.
It's probably
Take care of yourself, Ben. Take care of yourself, man.
And that. I mean, that really directly goes back to my whole thing too, where I haven't been taking care of myself. I've been going to the gym lately, which is great. I've been eating better.
I have been too.
The past like 24 hours, I've had like 2 sandwiches, and that's not good for me. So
that's not good for you at all.
That's why my stream kind of fell apart about an hour in, where I was just like, I hit a very, very solid wall where I think I just crashed, and I needed to eat something, and I didn't, because I was streaming, and it's like, oh well, I just got to power through this, it'll be fine, and it kind of worked, and it didn't. And
eat on stream, man. That's what I do. For the big thing that I notice is, for the amount of people that get turned off by it, it's like, you got to take care of yourself more. So who cares?
Yeah, I know, and
if
primarily I didn't, because I had a timer running, and I didn't have time to like run out.
Yeah, and I can understand that. Yeah.
So, and that was my problem there. Otherwise, I probably would have, or I would have just ended the stream and started up a half hour later if I really cared. But
what I would say, first of all, toxic. If someone's eating on stream, just because you don't like eating by your keyboards, doesn't mean they have the same problem.
My keyboard's gross.
And B,
mine are always nasty. Yeah. But I got dog hair everywhere, so it's like I can't even help it, man.
Yeah. And B, I mean, I have no problem with people eating on stream as long as they don't eat up to the microphone. If you don't make an if you don't make an ASMR video out of it, I don't care. Like, people eating don't freak me out. Like, I go to restaurants and watch people eat all the time. It's not that unusual.
For me, it's as long as they're not showing their food off, I don't care. Like, the way I look at it is, from my perspective, is if somebody, like, whenever I stream, I'll do like, if I've got a day off the next day, or I can go late, I'll stream for 6 to 8 hours or more, and it's like, there's a meal in there somewhere.
Yeah,
like you work an 8-hour shift at a job, you get an hour break or 15-minute break or 30-minute break, you get a break to eat. So it's like
totally
the same rules apply, to me in my mind. in that regard.
As long as you're not eating like a sloppy Joe or soup or something really screwed up. Like you can have a sandwich or something. That's totally fine.
Yeah, we're all beard wearers here, but I know I probably have the longest one of the three of us, and it's really horrible. It's horrifying when you sit there and you eat a sandwich or something like from Arby's that has like melted cheese on it, and then you kind of forget about it, and then you run into the bathroom at some point. You look in the mirror, and there's just cheese streaked all through your beard.
I hate it when that happens because it's like Pat, you saw this in my beard and no one told me for 2 hours. What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, in all fairness, I'm not streaming when that happens.
I'll have like mayonnaise on my cheek or something. It's
God.
I had like, you know how that looks, and it's like, you didn't tell me. Come on.
That's so
not
great.
Right, man. Not right.
And Poetic Android, you're not wrong. Mukbang is a thing. It's just not my thing. And I feel like if you're streaming to a general audience and you're not a mukbang stream, don't make a mukbang stream out of it. You know what I mean? Like that would turn me off. And I get why people like get turned off. Nice, Chucko. I get why people get turned off by people eating on stream because it can be a little bit gross. But like, as long as you do a few basic, like, back off from the mic a little bit, don't make a big deal out of it. Don't, try not to talk with your mouth full too much. Like, it's going to be fine.
Be polite about it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed that some streamers do is they'll actually hide their cam too while they eat.
Yeah.
Oh, and that makes sense.
And just, and just kind of leave it up, and then as they in between bites or whatever, they'll engage with chat and let them let them know they're still there.
And they're totally. I mean, there are ways around it so that it doesn't look awful, but self-care on stream. And I do love it when I see in chats in other communities like, hey, drink some water. Take a 5-minute break. Like, I mean, as much as I feel like that's a little pushy, I get it, and I at least understand that it's like, hey, we like watching your streams, and we care about your well-being. So I think that's actually super cool.
I really like Madame Berry's bot that reminds her to drink water. I think that it's really cool, and I kind of want to add it to mine. Except I don't really stream long enough for it to really matter as much.
Yeah, exactly. That's something like that is perfect. I think, going back to Tim's point, I think, any decent audience that actually likes to watch you is going to be cool about, hey, I need to eat. Like, I'm human too. I'm not just a content machine for you. I am, but I'm also a human machine and I need to eat.
I am a robot.
And on that bombshell, I think we've probably reached our social interaction quota for the week.
I agree.
I'm not going to talk to anybody else for the rest of the week. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah, I don't want to, that's it. You guys are dead to me till next Saturday. All right, well, in that case, Ben, I love it. Those are amazing. Tim, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me over on Twitter at InsertCoinTim. You can find me on Mixer at mixer.com/InsertCoinTheater. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can check out the Discord at discord.gg/ice.
And Ben, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Patreon, and YouTube at Ben_Burns. I do music mostly, but I also do weird stuff too.
That's awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at ZaxaCMK, on Twitch at twitch.tv/ZaxaCMK, on YouTube at Eric Klein Create.
No.
I triggered the music too early. The show is available on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, and wherever fine podcasts are sold. Our website is mandatorysocial.com. Our streaming overlay was created by Maris. MIntrovrt Alicke. You can find Maris's work at marisalicke.bandcamp.com. The theme song is Protofunk by Kevin Macleod at incompetech.com. And background music is by Ben Burns. You can find him at abstractionmusic.com. Thanks, as always, for watching. We'll catch you next week.
Yep. Bye.